far left in attractiveness and the right in attractiveness, because it is a scientific fact. And the left can cry about this all day and night. Conservatives tend to be.
No, I genuinely think it's funny. Even if it is conclusive, the science shows statistically more beautiful people happen to be conservative. Okay, that changes none of my beliefs. My belief system isn't a hot or not.
A cover with Kristen Stewart. Of course, everybody knows Kristen Stewart from Twilight. So following this, there was widespread criticism of the photo shoot because Kristen Stewart used what they describe as masculine coded props, like a jockstrap.
I just noticed this. We'd honestly be surprised if they could name a movie she's done since Twilight. Don't worry, he's definitely gonna do it. He's got IMDb on the corner there. But it's pretty funny that he opened this whole thing with it. You probably know her from Twilight, you know, the vampire thing.
Strap and a leather vest or whatever. Following the criticism, Rolling Stone published this. Right-wingers are terrified of our gay Kristen Stewart cover. We'd honestly be surprised if they could name a movie she's done since Twilight.
Here we go.
It is hard to think of any movies that she's done, to be completely honest. But I did see American Ultra. I don't know.
Okay, there you go.
I think that was 10 years ago. And Snow White. And what else is she in? I don't know what else she's in, to be completely honest. And I think the funny thing about this is saying that we'd be surprised if they could name a movie she's done since Twilight is kind of the point. So there is some speculation that a move like this from Kristen Stewart doing like this shocking photo shoot is desperation. She's not a big movie star anymore. I mean, to be fair, like Twilight was big when it was big, but you know, Robert Pattinson, that was big for him. I know he wasn't a big fan of it, but he also did Harry Potter. And Kristen Stewart, that was big for her, and she's done like some movies since then, I guess. I mean, come on.
She's done a whole bunch of different kinds of films. She's done huge budget mainstream films. He named a couple of them. She's also been in like indie horror as well. I think she's in that new Cronenberg movie that I haven't seen yet, Crimes of the Future. But it looks creepy. Looks like some good old-fashioned body horror there. Same thing, actually, oddly enough, to be said about Robert Pattinson, who has done huge mainstream projects, Batman, obviously, but also was doing indie films. You know, The Lighthouse, very, very good as well. But yeah, the thing is, the reason they're pointing that out, and I can't believe how low the self-awareness is set during this, is that like, y'all are freaking out about this photo shoot and trying to pass it off as, like, I saw End Wokeness being like, look what they took from you style stuff. Like, you know, the wokeness destroys everything. And Christopher Rufo actually made the whole thing out to be like, what is it? Gayness is not a sexuality. It's an ideology. It removes everything from the blah, blah, blah. Like, all of this just screams... it's not what I personally find attractive. That's me putting it very nice. I mean, to be completely honest, it's basically their goon collection has somehow been tarnished by people's new looks or something like that. Like, it's just nonstop. People don't look the way you want them to look. It's why they keep doing pictures where they show Elliot Page, you know, after he transitioned, and then they show Elliot Page before he transitioned, and then they'll be like, look what they took from us. From us? What? Are you serious? Ian Miles Chong? Like, did you think that you had a chance at Elliot Page, and then now that is forever lost because Elliot Page is a man and always was? Like, is that part of it?
You can't name a movie that she's done since Twilight.
She was Princess Di in a movie last year. That's also true.
I would like Rolling Stone to know I am not terrified in any way of your cover. In fact, I didn't even comment on it.
I should also add, wasn't she just nominated for an Academy Award? Like, that just happened, right? Like, because her career has completely fallen apart. Now, she may have been nominated for the highest possible attainable award in her industry. But, yeah, just nothing else. Nothing else. Yeah.
Till now. And now I'm going to. I can't speak for other anti-woke social media accounts, but I'm going to start this segment off very simply before reading their criticism, and then I want to show you some examples. Kristen Stewart looks gross. I'm not.
See what I mean? It's always the same shit every time. It keeps like, yeah, we know that this isn't particular. It's not for you, Tim. It's not for you. Yeah, we know. We get it. Like Ian Miles Strong, Christopher Rufo, End Wokeness, Cat Turd, all these motherfuckers always being like, look what they took from me! From me! She was mine! Mine!
I'm trying to be mean. I don't know or care for Kristen Stewart. I don't care that she dresses how she wants to dress. And I honestly didn't care that Rolling Stone did the cover with her.
You made a video. Kristen Stewart cover proves going woke makes people ugly. Studies prove the right is better looking. It seems you do care a lot. And also, I don't know. Just to me, anyone who has to do this, ever since like I was a kid, it just kind of reeks of insecurity to constantly have to do with like, yes, apparently we, being the collective right, we're better looking on average. Yes, if you look at basically facial symmetry and the points of what exactly constitutes beauty, the definition therein, we are much more beautiful as a whole. Yeah.
But if you want to play this game and talk about what's going on, I'll tell you where I'm at. When the Gamergate stuff was happening, my attitude for all the video games that were getting woke was, hey, man, more power to you. You make your video game. That's great. I won't buy it. Rolling Stone runs the cover of a greasy-looking, disheveled individual who looks like they have become a drug addict. And that was a little bit harsh, but yeah, I'm just not going to mince words here.
Were they upset at Cillian Murphy's cover that just came out on GQ? Was that another? I didn't see that as much as I saw, obviously, everyone losing their minds over Kristen Stewart. But like, I can imagine that cover as well probably ruffled a few feathers.
I'm not going to buy your magazine. I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. I'm not terrified of a woman who looks bad, and she doesn't care that I think she looks bad. She probably doesn't care for my opinions. She probably thinks I look bad. She's gay.
She doesn't know who you are. I'm gonna guess that. I don't have data to prove it. Before me, but I'm gonna guess most likely if asked, she probably doesn't know who you are. I say that as someone who she definitely doesn't know who I am as well. Yeah. So more just like weird, sweaty internet beanie thing. Complains in front of webcam style. You know.
She can say that if she wants. That's fine. The point I'll bring up is. What I don't understand.
Yes, she's bi, but she's engaged to a woman, which by definition, for conservatives, that's wokeness has taken her from us. Yeah, she's not the good kind of woke, you know. She went a little too woke.
Understand about Rolling Stone or whatever, and I guess I do understand, but why do you have to look like a drug addict to be a queer icon or whatever?
I mean, it's sad to say, but I have known a lot of hardcore drug addicts in my life, and that is not what they end up looking like.
No, I mean it sincerely. I mean, you take a look at the older photos of Kristen Stewart. I mean, obviously she was gay back then.
Tim, you look like a drug addict. No, he looks like a drug dealer who stomps the fuck out of his shit, and everyone calls him out for it. I go, no, don't hit up that guy. That guy is a piece of shit. Yeah, you'll be buying Drano.
Right? She was gay then, and she's gay now. She didn't just become gay. But what about that made her decide to, I don't know, not clean her face and hair? No, seriously. The photos of her.
This is so weird, dude. What? Like, there's a lot of right-wingers who I despise, but I can't in my life imagine making a 25-minute video pulling apart, does it look like they washed today, and the application of the eyeliner is definitely, amateur at best. The haircut, sloppy, you know.
Look, I'm going to be kind of a dick on this one, but I look, I don't care to get into a spat with any celebrities or whatever. I know the woke are going to scream and cry. That's fine. You do whatever you want. I'm going to
Oh, you would love that. Yeah. I mean, the good news is, again, this doesn't really ever hit the circles of the like the uber famous.
say it plainly and bluntly. Okay. Kristen Stewart before looked like she took care of herself. She wore makeup. I'm not a big fan of makeup, but that's fine.
You literally wear the same fucking beanie and black shirt combo every single day. You know, you're a scrubbed out Superman. Like, I've wondered this. I never got to see it when I was at the compound. But is there just like a series of beanies? Is it the same one? Is there just like a row of black shirts, like, and black dress shirts to put on top of it?
Face was clean, and she did her hair up and things like that. Kristen Stewart in the Rolling Stone magazine looks like she just rolled out of bed and threw on some, I don't know, like Goodwill thrift store clothes. It looks like she looks homeless. You know, for me.
Like, again. The self-awareness on this one, I think we're at historic levels.
It strikes a little bit close to home, because I'll tell you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, maybe the self-awareness is turned back down now.
The way her hair looks, greasy and dirty, her face, it really does remind me of friends that I've had who, when they became drug addicts...
Oh, never mind. Sorry, he's back.
Let themselves go. I'm not saying she's a drug addict. I'm saying, to me, in my experience in my life, what they show of her, I'm like, yeah, that looks like a friend of mine, a couple friends that I'd known through my life, and many of you probably know the same thing. They went from wearing like clean clothes, and they would clean their hair and they would dry it, and even the guys. And then once started getting into drugs, they got thin and gaunt. They stopped taking care of themselves, and then they looked greasy. They just didn't care anymore. Maybe the reality is for someone like Kristen Stewart.
Like, I don't know if you can't tell from like the low resolution or whatever you're watching me on right now, but like this does not in any way, like, first off, this is a photo shoot. And if you find the particular hairstyle that she has objectionable, I mean, that's on you. But the other thing about this is that, like, in no way does this reflect anything Tim Pool's saying, you know, just objectively.
She doesn't care anymore. Okay, that's fine. And maybe that a component of why people look disheveled after starting drugs is because it's not the drugs, it's they don't care anymore. But let me read the story for you, and then I want to show photos and talk about the issue of far left and attractiveness and the right and attractiveness, because it is a scientific fact. And the left can cry about this all day and night. Conservatives tend to be...
No, I genuinely think it's funny. Even if it is conclusive, the science shows statistically more beautiful people happen to be conservative. Okay, that changes none of my beliefs. My belief system isn't a hot or not. It's not based on that. Like, that was even funnier than the, like, someone was mean to me, so I changed all of my political beliefs. Fucking all that shit. It's like, not enough hot people on the left.
more tracky. It's there. Rolling Stone writes, ever since 2012, when Trump wrote a string of tweets about how Robert Pattinson should dump her, Kristen Stewart has occupied a curious space in the conservative imagination. She hasn't. Most people don't, as Rolling Stone even pointed out.
I love how he's like, the left is going to be so triggered by this that they're actually not as hot as we are. Yeah, unlike us who don't care at all about this. Gets like barely past the first sentence. He's like, we don't. It doesn't consume us. I say in my 23-minute video.
Most people don't even know what movies she's been in.
That was the first line. That was the little subheader.
It was being reminded of those comments as she's revealed in Rolling Stone's March cover story that inspired Stewart to come out as gay in an SNL monologue 5 years later, shedding once and for all the waif-like image thrust upon her by the Twilight Saga, the vampire romance movies everybody knows about, blah, blah. Okay, so here we have this. This is, I don't know what YouTube's rules are on showing a Rolling Stone cover, but she's wearing what looks like a pleather vest, not leather, it looks fake, with weights behind her, and she's sticking her hand in a jock strap. It looks, she looks like a drug addict. I mean,
I can't with this one. This one's way too silly. Please, please. Oh, the ladies do protest too much. It's like that weird cycle where people were trying to say that like certain people who are just objectively very, very attractive weren't attractive, or like at one point people were trying to say that like about Halle Berry, I can't remember why, or Margot Robbie, and I was just like, we're not actually doing this. Are we doing, you know, I know we're not supposed to objectify women because society does that as a whole, and it's absolutely true that a lot of a patriarchal society does, you know, this is my full disclaimer, getting out of the way. I gotta virtue signal and get the wokeness off my chest before saying they're hot as fuck. What are you talking about? Like, just even like 100% gay men are like, yeah, I get it.
Mean that not to be mean. I don't know how else to describe what I see when I see this. Greasy hair, ill-kempt, strange haircut style. Look, the people that I knew that started doing drugs didn't go and buy haircuts anymore. The men and women that I knew that were taking care of themselves, guys, obviously, they go and they spend $10, they get a trim, right?
How are you, of all people, taking this stance? Tim, again, you literally wear the same three things every day. I for your sake and for the rest of like the team's sake, I hope there's a whole bunch of beanies. I hope there's at least like 30 beanies and 30 shirts and 30 dress shirts. You know, I hope there's just a row of costumes. Again,
the women that I knew were spending like 100 or more, and probably way more than that. And they had like dedicated stylists. And friends of mine were actual stylists and rented chairs at salons and had clients and all that stuff. And it's you know, it's wild. Women know better than I do. That's what they do. The people that I knew who got into drugs just stopped caring, and they would take scissors and go whoosh to their hair and be like, my hair's too long. Or they would, honestly, they'd be like, can you cut my hair? It's too long. It was kind of sad. They say the visibility of celebrities like Stewart and lesser-known LGBTQ individuals has been interpreted by far-right agitators as evidence that young people are being groomed. Whatever. I don't know. I don't have anything to say about that. I think they're just promoting.
Weird, because you do have a lot of videos where you actually do the same kind of fucking shit. Are you just giving it a break? You know, are you just taking a day off on that one? Yeah, we'll get back to it tomorrow. Don't worry. I'll find 5 or 6 examples of someone just existing, and then I'll say their very existence is grooming and pedophilia. But for today, we'll leave Christopher Rufo and wokeness to get the blunt of the Rolling Stone article.
Someone who looks greasy. I really don't know what else to say. I think the only thing I can say about this is I don't know that this has anything to do with grooming. I think she just looks like she doesn't care anymore. It's kind of depressing that she gave up.
But if you don't care, and it means nothing to you, and you can't even remember movies that she's in, then why do this? Is the part I get. Or sorry, the part I don't get.
Christopher Rufo, primary architect of the astroturfed conservative panic over critical race theory in schools and avowed enemy of DEI, had an initially rabid take on the images of Stewart. He argued that queerness is an ideology, and appears to make people miserable. In the same post, he purposefully dead-named actor Elliot Page, a trans man, claiming media depictions of him and Stewart are intended to demoralize. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Like, I'm quite literally saying, like, I don't know.
Well, he is a milquetoast fence sitter. He can't take a strong position on like objective nonsense. Like, when you see a sentence like this, you don't say, yeah, I'm not sure. Hard to tell. Hard to tell. Yeah. Queer is an ideology, not a sexuality, and appears to make people miserable. They put dismal pictures of Ellen Page and Kristen Stewart under headlines with the word joy, family, happiness, propaganda that intends to demoralize. Nothing screams, this person's miserable, not me, like making a post like this. You know? Like, this is the crying Wojak put to fucking pen and ink. When you sit there like, they're miserable because of the ideology. Doesn't look as hot as I used to think. I used to be attracted to you. You were my #1 right-click save.
What I've heard is that the general idea with Kristen Stewart looking disheveled and greasy is a rejection of beauty norms. Yeah, okay. Right. Now, in my view, it sounds like you don't care anymore.
I mean, I saw that that poster, the front page cover. I think it came out yesterday, and I was like, "That's badass." The whole thing just screamed badass. You know, it was like it had, like rock star quality kind of aspect to it, to the photo shoot. You know, the proud, queer, fucking aesthetics to it all. The kind of punk rock fuck you of it all. I was like, that. Yeah, this is just badass. And it's like, it's just so bizarre to me that for an entire section of the right, clearly it was like, look what they took from us again. Wokeness. If they win, everyone will be gay, and this is what it means.
Anymore. Do you agree? If you do, then we have no argument. I don't think Kristen Stewart cares anymore. She looks greasy, and her hair looks like she does.
Like, what the fuck, Tim? What did you... it's just, I mean, yeah, there's people you could point towards and be like, yeah, this person I don't really think is that attractive and stuff like that. But it's so weird when they start picking like targets where it's just like objectively, a lot of people consider these individuals to be very, very attractive. That's one of the reasons why they're considered, you know, superstars of that particular caliber, is that they are multi-talented in many ways. And yeah, one of them happens to be that many people consider them to be attractive.
Take care of it at all.
They can be gay icons.
Hiya, right chick, who libs of TikTok, wrote disgusting in response to Ollie London. And look, I mean,
do we need to pull up pictures of Ollie London? Like professional extreme racist Ollie London who tried to become Korean by getting penis reduction surgery? Yeah, that racist piece of shit. Why are these the people who are like, they're ugly and the right is objectively more hot, science says so?
Her hair is greasy and it's cut strangely, and I gotta be honest, it looks like her haircut was just cut by a friend, and it doesn't, not trying to style it in any way.
Got him.
Not trying to look good. Ian Miles Chong said, what did Hollywood do to Kristen Stewart? I don't know that Hollywood did anything. I think she just doesn't care. Look.
I mean, hey, the whole conspiracy that this has something to do with some kind of ideology that is making people act this way, I guess that part couldn't get past him. But the whole, well, I need to talk about this because all the right is, so I'm going to do a story on this. I guess my angle is that she looks like a drug addict. She looks like someone who doesn't get her hair cut properly and is greasy. I'm going to say that word a lot, greasy. It looks as if she's covered in grease, you know?
I really do mean this when I say, like, I've had friends who fall into drug abuse, and it's sad. And Hollywood didn't make them do it. And leftism didn't make them have greasy mullets. It was that they didn't care anymore. They didn't care to look good for anybody else. The only thing they needed was that next hit. I am not saying Kristen Stewart is a drug addict. I'm saying there is a similarity between I just don't care anymore at all how I look and whatever is going on with Rolling Stone and trying to show that. That's totally.
How many times has he said, I don't care in this segment alone? We're only 9 minutes in. 9 minutes into this. I think he said it like 4 times now. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about this, okay? It doesn't mean anything to me.
Totally fine. I don't care at all that Rolling Stone does that.
Thank you. Fantastic timing. Again, no one's ever going to believe I don't pre-watch some of these videos sometimes. I get that so often. People like, pre-watch? Nah, it's just, I watch these motherfuckers for a living, and they keep doing this shit over and over again. It's just very easily recognizable patterns.
I firmly believe Rolling Stone can present this in any way they want, and the end result is that the average person will find it not attractive or appealing. So by all means, talk about the great queerness of Kristen Stewart and whatever you want to say.
Hell yeah.
And the average person will see someone who is greasy and unkempt. The reason why humans have aversions, not all.
Wait, do you have studies on that one too? Can we know that? I just want to know, like, you know, how about this? Chat. Ones in chats, if you think that that was an attractive photo shoot. Twos in chats if you don't. And let's just do ones and twos only. I'm curious. I just want to pull, get some polling data here, and see. I want to see if we get any Oh, we got a 69. Of course. We have a first-time chatter. I like that. Someone decided, you know what? I passively watch you. I don't actually interact with the show and everything, but I gotta let my voice be known. 1.
All humans, but most, to like someone who looks dirty, is that, you know, back in the day, if you were dirty, you could have disease. You weren't cleaning, and that was a problem. It's funny that humans didn't really understand the concept of washing your hands until like 1900 and something. There was a
no, I like even COVID kind of showed me that people just had to be taught once again. I was like, people were actually complaining where it's like, you should probably wash your hands thoroughly, make sure they're clean. People are like, what? It's like, well, yeah, you know, like don't just like let water fall on it, then like dry the hands off. You have to actually, you know, wash the hands, get in between the fingers, clean every part of it. It shouldn't take, you know, 5 seconds. You can just like, psh, and then your hands are clean. That's not how it works.
doctor who was like, maybe women will stop dying in childbirth if we wash our hands off. And then the doctor's like, what are you talking about? Today, it's kind of like, duh. I also wonder about the doctors in the Civil War who could have just taken a bottle of rum or whiskey and splashed it over the wound, and the guy probably would have kept his leg. Now, far be it from me. I mean, it's antiseptic, but I don't know. I'm not a doctor. The point is, even though we didn't truly understand the general idea of disgust, why we throw up when we see corpses or maggots or feces, is because it's
I'll give it to him. He's working. He is earning that outrage. It's a very difficult thing to try and be pissed off about this if you're not coming at it from the angle that this is something about ideological wokeness, you know, perversing the minds of people. If you're like, I don't totally buy that. I'm gonna go with not hot. That's what I'm gonna go with. So how do I do this? She looks dirty, greasy, looks like a drug addict, bad haircut. So that's what I'm gonna try. Yeah.
a response. If you ingest these things, you could die. So humans that, this is evolution. As humans are evolving, there are some humans that barf when they see things that are gross and some that don't. The ones that do are more likely not to be ingesting things that are toxic, poisonous, or whatever, and they're less likely to die of disease or like sepsis or something. And those who didn't care about it were probably less likely to succeed.
So being clean is good. You should wash yourselves, clean your bodies, clean your assholes, you know, clean all the parts, all the bits, wash thoroughly, make sure you wash with soap and do so regularly. You should wash your clothing as well. You shouldn't wear the same clothing every day, especially on areas where there could be moisture, specifically areas that might be constrained, where there can be sweat forming, and that sweat can also permeate, say, a toque. If you're not familiar with that item of clothing, it goes by many other names. But, if you do wear a toque on a regular basis, even if you live somewhere hot and it's not winter time and you seem to wear it on a frequency that kind of denotes something else is going on, that should be something that you also ideally wash and clean for, again, cleanliness.
This means that right now, we know this. Let me see. We'll jump to that one in a second. Where's the...
Get off my back, Lance. I'm currently washing. Good for you. We need the clean left, all right? We're advocates here for the cleaning and the washed left.
Here we go. Swan dating. Are right-wing people more attractive? A recent Danish study used machine learning to predict the political bias of 3,323 people, based only on an analysis of their faces. Accuracy was 61%, a good amount better than chance. What's more, they found that good-looking faces were more likely to belong to right-wing candidates, adding to an increasingly substantial literature that finds conservative people more attractive. They go on to mention several more studies that find it. Now, there's a lot to break down here, but I think it really comes down to, if you're an attractive person, life's probably easier for you. Thus, you'll think to yourself, if I could do it, why don't you? If you're ugly, you're probably going to be a collectivist because people are not as nice to you. You might be a bit more bitter of a person. The trope is that you go to the...
I love this second part too, adding to an increasingly substantial literature that finds conservative people more attractive. In Europe, the US, and Australia, right-wing politicians are more attractive than left-wing counterparts. Men with high upper body strength are less likely to support forced redistribution of resources. In the US, elected female Republicans have more feminine faces than elected female Democrats. Even for controlled socioeconomic status, more attractive people are more likely to identify as conservative. I love that the right is actually making this a point of focus where they're like, well, we actually used AI to be able to try and predict people's political outcomes based on facial recognition patterns. Oh, okay. And based on that, we're also using those same facial recognition patterns to determine whether or not they happen to be hot or not. And so we're finding with 61% accuracy, very high, that it turns out the hotter people tend to skew right. If this was 100% true, that it's just a mathematical certainty. It's just science at the end of the day that hot people skew more right wing. That changes none of my political beliefs. I will gladly be with the lefty uggos as we all joyously try to have liberation for everyone. Like it's not like, oh well, yeah, I was going to advocate for the end of subjugated hierarchies under capitalism and racial subjugation and gendered subjugation, all that kind of stuff. But some pretty hot folk on the other side. Gotta say, pretty fucking hot. So, yeah, based on the AI smasher pass.
RNC, and you see a lot of tall men and a lot of busty women. And you go to the DNC, you see a lot of short men and fat women. And I'm not trying to be a dick. It's true.
It's just science, people. Have you not noticed that? If you go to the DNC, everyone there happens to be short and fat. And then when you go to the RNC, everyone is super fucking hot. Science.
They get so mad about this. The last time I did a segment on this, the Young Turks were like, Tim Pool's ugly, though. I don't care if you think I'm ugly. I don't care if you think a ton of MAGA chuds are ugly, as you'd call them. On average,
I don't care. I don't care. I really don't care. I don't care. Okay, that doesn't matter. The science is clear. The hotties are on our side. All of them.
conservatives tend to be more attractive. I mean, case
like, okay, if you were to do this in the other direction, here's how silly it would be. It is true. It is statistically true that you can look at the fact that a lot of celebrities are left-leaning. We often hear, not left as in leftist, left as in liberal. They're more liberal-leaning. Some of them are progressive, and there's even a few Mark Ruffalo's in there who want to go a little bit further. But for the most part, they usually lean liberal. This is a thing that the right constantly complains about. They're always talking about liberal Hollywood. They're always talking about all the celebrities are liberal. They're always talking about how all the musicians are liberal. They're always complaining about it. And then they have to sadly say, like, well, they may have Taylor Swift, but we have Cat Turd. They may have, so-and-so, but we have this. And it's just kind of like, so by your own logic, if all the celebrities are liberal leaning and all the celebrities are also considered objectively usually pretty hot, does that mean that it flies in the face of the theory, the hot or not political theory? Does that destroy the theory? Or is this all just nonsense? Like, absolute nonsense. Like, the whole thing screams desperation if you're actually going through, yes, well, we have trained deep machine learning AI to be able to try and predict people's political outcomes based on their facial symmetry. And it's like, okay, we're going there. We're doing this. Yeah, we don't have the mass adopted flying cars. We don't have the healthy alcohol, but we do have the ability to use deep machine learning to be able to track people's facial symmetry and then guess their political outcomes. This goes back to high school bully tactics too. It's why they're always trying to be like, well, yeah, I mean, like, if you're a lib, you're basically just like an SJW with purple hair screaming blah blah blah, and it gets even more vile. I'm sure you've all seen the segments by Steven Crowder where he straight up says that, like, the women who complain about sexual assault often look like people who would never be sexually assaulted, and you're like, that's got to be one of the most vile, fucked up things anyone has thought, let alone said out loud.
Not everybody, the majority of people, do not find obesity attractive. I don't care that Kristen Stewart wants to look the way she wants to look. I don't care that Rolling Stone does it.
But I do have one question. Do you care? Do you care about any of this?
And I don't fear it in any way. I can't speak for anyone else, but let me show you this photo from Vanity Fair. This is from, this photo I believe is from like a year or so ago. And yes.
Bruh, you don't care, but you got multiple tabs open on this. You've been Googling photos of Kristen Stewart, trying to find the ones that back up your argument, where you're like, okay, well, that one, clearly she might be serving it a little bit here, so I'm gonna have to find another one. Okay, okay, this one, that one actually is kind of nice. I'll find. There's got to be. Okay, yeah, this. Oh, that angle's actually kind of flattering too. There's another angle. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, kid. And we'll get a new tab open for the next one.
She looks greasy, like she doesn't take care of herself. Her hair looks like she just doesn't care anymore. That's fine. She doesn't have to do anything for me or look any way she doesn't want to look.
Because you don't care?
I have no issue with it whatsoever. But in my opinion, when you look at Kristen Stewart now, it's like she's let herself go. That's totally fine. Let me pull up some other photos. This one's from 2016. Okay.
Are you...
Despite the fact that she has a similar haircut.
But you don't care. But you're actually doing a hot or not with her. A timeline one, no less. You spent time out of your day. You did research for this segment. This might be the most research I've ever seen him do.
Her hair looks clean and taken care of. She's wearing makeup. I don't care about the makeup stuff. But she doesn't look greasy.
Ah.
Like...
Weird sentence to have said out loud. But here we are.
Somebody who wakes up, doesn't shower. Right. Now, if you're into that, and you can be, that's totally fine. I don't think Kristen Stewart has to do anything to prove herself to anybody. But
Tim, I don't know if you knew this, and this just applies to anyone who wears makeup, but if you wear a lot of makeup, it can oftentimes lead to things like acne or stuff like that if you don't wash it off later, because yes, it can increase the amount of grease that your body is consistently producing, not allowing it to escape. So you'll notice that there's a lot of things like makeup removers that people use at the end of the day to wash the makeup off. So again, what you're describing as greasy, I believe in both instances is simply different shades of makeup being used because they were both photo shoots, and in both photo shoots they would be applying makeup. I don't know if you know this, but when you're watching movies and professional films, most likely, even if it looks like the actor isn't wearing makeup in a scene, they're most likely wearing makeup. There's just different kinds of makeup that you can apply. But yeah, here we are.
I think it's fair to point out that a lot of the criticism you see people saying disgusting about it is because she looks like, well, it looks like, she looks like a drug addict. I mean, I feel bad saying it. I'm not saying she's a drug addict. I'm saying, I'll say it again, like, I grew up in Chicago, lived in LA for a little bit, lived in Seattle. I knew people. You know, I had a friend in Chicago. You look at the pictures from high school. It looks like this. And then after high school, fell into drugs.
Yeah, I know. Like people in chat, I also feel like I'm losing my mind. Like, again, just like, y'all chose nightmare mode, you know? Like, this is a hard difficulty setting. To try and farm outrage over. Ambitious. I'll grant you that. Ambitious, for sure. to sit there dressed like this, by the way, to talk about how this is a greasy drug addict. Yeah, she looks greasy, disheveled, disgusting. What can I say? You know? And then, yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with, like, wokeness, or I don't think she was, like, you know, brought in through ideology. That might be a bit far, but clearly, she just doesn't care.
Heroin, and then every day just like sunken cheeks,
Heroin.
Greasy face, messy hair that was not washed or cleaned. And I'm like, man, that breaks my heart to see this. Like, what happened? You just take care of yourself. It sucks. So this is from an article. This is from 2016, and there's a bunch of other photos. This is from 2023. I mean, look, once again, I'm sorry. Like, the hair, Kristen's hair is greasy. I'll say it again. Look, you can look however you want to look, man.
He is obsessed with grease. I will agree. My man's loves that fucking grease. Just greasy. You look greasy. Like, you know, should Tim Pool ever find the love of his life, I imagine it's probably going to have to be a lot of conversations where he's, why are you so greasy today? I told you to not be so greasy. Oh, that means he wants me to put on makeup. Yeah, I'll go put on some makeup. I'll go put on more makeup for you. Yeah, I washed the grease off. I can tell, because you don't look greasy anymore. Yeah, good. Thank you for washing the grease off of your face.
Stoner girl comedy. She's writing a stoner girl comedy. That's great. I wish you the best. Maybe the people that you've, shifted towards will support you, and I hope you succeed. I hope there are many people who find you attractive and you live the life you want to live, and then nobody tells you what for. How about that?
Yeah, because you don't care.
in my opinion, in my life, which again, I say has no bearing on yours or anybody who enjoys what, you know, there are guys who like fat chicks. I remember when Jordan Peterson was ragging on this fat chick on a cover and I was like, hey, look, you know, let the fat chicks have their day. Some people like fat chicks. I'm just saying.
I hate this, Tim. You're putting me in a position, and I'm supposed to be a feminist, and you're putting me in a position where I now have to objectify a whole bunch of women. That Sports Illustrated model was hot. Like, that's the reason Jordan Peterson got lit up. She was objectively hot. Yeah, she's larger in size. Bigger people can be hot too. Surprise, surprise, hot people are hot. Why does this have to be, well, yeah, I'd find her, I'd say that she was attractive, but, you know, she's a lesbian, and she got a haircut, and yeah, so you can just see it, right? I'm not saying it's wokeness, but she's greasy. I don't care, though. Definitely don't care.
And, like, there's going to be a lot of people who are like, that's gross. What we end up seeing is stuff like this. From them.us. Why is no one in the DMs? Dylan Mulvaney discussed dating as a trans woman. The TikTok star is, quote, somebody who should not be single. Look, man, I don't know what to tell you, okay? I saw this post, and it said something like, incel-dumb is a choice. And it was a picture of this dude who was like, he's kind of ugly. Except he was jacked. He's like, I started exercising, and everything changed for me. Because it really is, for guys, about, like, improvement and things like that. And for women.
And muscles. Men, do you want to attract women? Well, then you know what to do, all right? The answer is right before your eyes. It's steroids and HGH. You got to take all the supplementation you can and get large in size. The larger in size, the more people become attracted to you. I also mean that in height, in width, in all things. Go gigantism. You have to have your cranium expand to be large so women will know you have good brain juice, okay? And that's the secret to getting the ladies. Without that, no woman will ever be attracted to you. You keep hearing these kind of weird things coming from the right when it's like, I love those posts where people were like, you know, written by women, where it's like, you know, the right has this obsession that like women just are really looking for some kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger looking type guy, when like most women are now obsessed with K-pop stars and Michael Cera and things like that. And it's like, guess what? Different people are attracted to different people, for sure. And there's no question about that. That one is true. You know, you're all going to have your own personal preferences. Some people like short people. Some people like tall people. Some people like huge tits. Some people like small tits. Whatever the thing may be. Everyone's got a difference in preferences. That much is true. I agree with you. But what's weird is to just be an internet fucking sweaty, strange, beanie-wearing weirdo and to sit here and to be like, objectively, doesn't look good, and I don't care, but I am going to make a 23-minute video on how ugly she is, and I have to talk about this a lot, and how a lot of these people, and then I'm going to show you the science is clear on this. We're hot. We're very hot. I don't care. I definitely don't care, but the right is so much hotter. It is just like this deep thinking AI was able to detect with 61% accuracy about whether or not people's political, you know, associations would also align with their skull shapes. It's science, people.
They can certainly do things to make themselves more or less attractive.
Of course.
Some women are just naturally not that good looking. And that's a challenge too. I mean, it's a reality. I'm not trying to be mean here. For guys, you can be an ugly guy, but you improve yourself, get in shape, study hard, and become the best of the best in the areas you can, and you'll find love and you'll succeed. So let's talk about Dylan Mulvaney. I do not like Dylan Mulvaney. I believe Dylan Mulvaney is a liar. I don't believe that Dylan Mulvaney is actually trans. I believe that Dylan Mulvaney puts on this trans face to mock women and trans people because it gets internet clicks. Like the famous hiking heels in the woods video Dylan Mulvaney produced. Look, we have friends of the show who are transgender. Okay. They don't put on heels and go run through the forest going, that's like someone's trying to make fun of them and insult them. Women also don't do this. Dylan Mulvaney had a video where it was like, now that I'm a woman, I'm going to cry for...
Yeah, maybe Blair White. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where obviously he has to preface with that because whenever Jim is about to be really racist, he adds, by the way, I have black friends. But if he's going to be homophobic, yeah, I just want to let you all know that there is like a gay guy who comes by the show sometimes. But like, I do need to say this. Gonna be transphobic. We do have trans friends of the show and who come by the studio and stuff like that. Just want to let you know.
No reason. Go shopping and buy things I can't afford. And it was like, you're just insulting women. Well, let's talk about Dylan Mulvaney dating. I don't care what Dylan Mulvaney does.
Let's talk about Dylan Mulvaney's love life. All right, in my segment where I've just been fucking ranking my hot or nots. I don't care. Definitely don't care.
But I'm sorry, a masculine plastic mannequin face. Look, Dylan in this interview says they're struggling to date. Okay, well, I don't know the life or dating history of Dylan Mulvaney, nor do I care to investigate. But upon this story going viral, many people made the point. Perhaps it's because you look unattractive. You look like you're made of plastic. You're a manly, effeminate individual. Masculine features with a tall, wide shoulders and slim hips, tall, slender, and lanky body, with a strange vocal intonation. And when I mean strange, I don't mean that in a condescending way. I mean atypical. Let me do this. If Swan.date, which I actually don't know what it is, it's like a dating website. If they're highlighting this Danish study, I was reminded of The Science of Sex, which is this documentary I saw. Like, it's really old, like 20 years old, probably. You can take a picture of a human being and show it to another human being anywhere in the world, and they will tell you whether.
Wait, it's a dating service? Swan is the antidote to dating app fatigue, replacing swiping with premium subscription service. Complete your character assessments with our team and work alongside AI to pair you with the perfect match. We'll set you up on an ideal date, handling time, place, and venue booking. All you have to do is turn up. We can't wait to meet you.
Whether or not they think the person is beautiful. And there is an average standard based upon human perception as to what is attractive and what is not. Well, okay, some people have less than typical proclivities, and so long as they are legal, I mean, and not harming somebody or minors, fine, I guess. No animals, that's weird. But like, if a guy likes, if dudes are into fat chicks, it's like, yeah, do your thing, man. Everybody deserves love, I guess. But on average, there is an attractive face and unattractive faces. This means that for someone like Dylan Mulvaney, wondering why they're not having a date, it's because the overwhelming majority of people will look at you and say, you are gross. I am not trying to be mean. I'm saying they're going to say, I am disgusted by this. The same thing with Kristen Stewart in this Miss Magazine cover. For me personally, I feel disgust when I see the photos of Kristen Stewart. I will stress this again. To all the leftists who are going to whinge and complain about this video or whatever, you are allowed to be disgusted by me, to call me ugly, all the names in the book. You're allowed to do that because people.
Once again, I'm not like triggered in the way you think. I know. Oh, I'm so edgy. Leftists are gonna have a time with this, and then they're gonna call me ugly and stuff. No, I think you're really funny for this one. This one, like I said, this was not an easy task. Not something I would ever want to take on. I wouldn't want someone to, like, again, it's kind of like whenever, like, all the right-wingers were starting to go after Margot Robbie, and it's kind of like, yeah, I wouldn't want to have to be on the other side of this fight. I wouldn't want to have to do this team sports thing where we're all collectively like, oh, we're supposed to hate them, so we should talk about how they're ugly, and then you're like, oof. All right, greasy? They look greasy?
People have different perspectives and opinions. I do not think I am He-Man, most attractive Chad, or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that everybody has their different views. And when I see a female with, like a greasy face and greasy hair, and it's a mullet, have you heard? And they're wearing like clothes that look like
I wanted to find this old clip of Tim because it's funny he's talking about this, and it's such a classic.
Have you heard that like young dudes
possibly have babies because of climate change?
Right, which is nonsense.
No, of course.
But I do think it's crazy that I'm about to be 34 and I have no family. Because my dad had 2 kids by the time he was 27.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you know what the problem is though? It's definitely not me. Mm-hmm. I think it's everybody else.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Can you please hit the like and subscribe button and maybe leave a comment? It really does help the videos out. But first, the people who produce everything you see before you and make this entire channel possible: Amazing Fletch, Anna Loves Riley, Ariane McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Puppy, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby K, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Demel, Trevbot.exe, Words Greenwood, and Travis McClinton. And also, thank you to every other person who helps fund this show. Their names are on the screen right now. It would not be possible without every single one of them. We cannot thank you enough. And if you want to join the Patreon, please come to patreon.com/theserfs and help us exist.